Among the billions of stars, a small signal suddenly rang out, not from Earth, nor from any planet in the solar system. It came from a distant visitor, silently crossing the stellar boundary 3I Atlas. And from that moment on, all humanity was left with only one silent question: has the universe just spoken? It all started with a signal so faint it was barely noticeable, a small oscillation in the radio data, lasting a few seconds, then fading away. But when the stations checked, it repeated itself regularly, every 33 seconds. No satellites in orbit were emitting that rhythm. No planets matched those coordinates. The signal came from an empty direction in space, where there was nothing except a strange object that had just entered the solar system. At first, it was thought to be a technical error, until the orbital radar system picked up the first reflected light, a small, cold dot moving at a speed that exceeded any known comet. Its name, 3I Atlas. It was called 3I Atlas, the third interstellar visitor to ever visit the solar system. Originating from the direction of the constellation Cygnus, it crossed the orbit of Mars at a speed of more than 68 kilometers per second. There was no ice tail, no water vapor rising like a comet. Just a cold streak of light, sliding through space like a stream of metal flowing in the darkness. What silenced scientists was that the light remained constant, even as the sun changed its angle, even as its distance varied. It reflected perfectly, as if adjusting itself to be seen. In the internal report, only one line was recorded: the reflection does not match any known natural object. A short sentence, but enough to silence the scientific community. Because if that's true, 3I Atlas isn't just a physical object. It could be a form of artificial construct. It doesn't fly like a comet. It moves with purpose. It stays on course, and it's precise down to the second. It seems to know where it's going and why it's here. If you're listening to this, just imagine, maybe somewhere out there, a being is also looking toward Earth, quietly observing us. And if you want to join us on this journey, please leave a little sign, a like, a subscription, so that when the next signal sounds, we'll be listening to the universe together, in the same breath. 3 hours after 3I Atlas was detected, the first radio signal appeared. It was as thin as a breath, but clear and regular, a cycle that repeated every 33 seconds. Not from a satellite, not from a human probe. The source came from exactly where the object was moving. Observing stations in South America, Australia, and Japan confirmed it. The signal was not random. It had a structure, like a code, with regular intervals, as if someone or something was sending a message, and right no will with united W's that tapeted perditions. At first, NASA thought it was just ionospheric noise, but when independent telescopes recorded the same frequency, that theory was no longer tenable. A team in Australia simulated the signal and found it wasn't distorted by magnetic interference, nor did it follow the rules of natural plasma waves. In other words, it was intentionally created. As than signiferin, would it now have CD2I'm, and the righted being the righted problemus, in one righted with one beyond. After that, all information was blocked, Internal reports were not published. NASA's data page was closed for several hours, and from that moment on, a wall of silence gradually fell. Not because they didn't know, but because they knew all too well what they were seeing. And the menor was common, agata grassed, and the menor was cover. The remaining scientists just sat there, listening to the same transmission cycle over and over again, every 33 seconds, like the heartbeat of the universe slowing down. One of the team whispered, "Maybe this is how the universe breathes." If you're listening to this, imagine if such a signal actually rang out across the night sky. What would you think it was? A greeting, a warning, or just the universe repeating itself? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Who knows? The answer you give today may be a clue to humanity's biggest question: are we really alone in the universe? After 3 days of continuous recording, all stations had synchronized their data. The frequency had not changed. The amplitude had not decreased. 3I Atlas was still emitting something, in a controlled, steady manner, as if programmed. Independent teams began analyzing the spectrum. Something strange emerged. The signal had a dual frequency signature, with a main oscillation in the radio band and a secondary wave deeper down, almost impossible to detect without heavy filtering. No natural phenomenon in the solar system could emit such a signal. Not a planet, not a star. It was deliberately coded to avoid the background noise of the universe. And 0, dawn 4 the 1. From there, a quiet split began. One side believed it was a sign of an extraterrestrial technology. The other side argues that this is just a coincidence, a kind of natural resonance that has never been recorded. But between the two streams of opinion, there is one thing that no one denies. Since the appearance of 3I Atlas, the way humans look at the sky has changed. No longer an endless void, but a space that can respond. Theoretical physicists began to talk about the concept of resonant intelligence, a form of intelligence that does not need a body, only needs frequencies. If that exists, then 3I Atlas could be the first form of communication in the universe, an energy being that does not speak, only glows and vibrates. And in that silence, someone realized what we call objects may have long ceased to be material. That night, in the most distant places, astronomers continued to look through their telescopes, waiting for the next signal. No one said it, but they all felt the same thing. When the universe spoke, every definition of life had to be rewritten. In the silence of the final signal, scientists began to retrace its path, not to understand what it was, but to understand where it came from. Every journey has a starting point, and sometimes that starting point unfolds a story larger than the universe itself. As the observatories retraced their orbits, one truth became clear: 3I Atlas did not belong to the solar system. It entered from the void between the stars, where no gravity was strong enough to hold anything together. Its orbit was tilted nearly 60 degrees to the ecliptic, cutting through a region of space no natural object had ever traversed. It passed the boundary of Jupiter without a single deviation, then continued to approach the Sun at 68 kilometers per second. No signs of a collision, no signs of instability. Its structure was as solid as if it had been forged in the cores of ancient stars. If it had been a comet, it would have disintegrated as soon as it passed through Jupiter's gravitational belt. But 3I Atlas was not. It passed as if it were unaffected by gravity, like a metal particle programmed to stay on course. And from then on, astronomers began calling it something else. The object that doesn't belong. The object that doesn't belong. In the darkness between the stars, it drifted silently, carrying humanity's first question. Is this really a piece of rock or a messenger from elsewhere? 3I Atlas entered the solar system at an incredible speed, more than 68 kilometers per second, so fast that conventional astronomical models were unable to handle it. Its orbit did not overlap with any planet or object. It cut through Jupiter's gravitational field, making precise turns without being disturbed by the gravity of other planets. This stunned the entire observation team, not only the speed, but also the tilt of its orbit. At nearly 60 degrees to the ecliptic, the object passed as a perfect diagonal in the 3D map of the solar system. The light reflected from its surface was even and steady. There was no glare or change, despite the sun's constant change of angle. The light had a sense of purpose, as if the object knew it was being watched. These observations raised the big question: is 3I Atlas a natural object, or a structure designed to withstand such speeds and gravity? This moment was the first turning point. Humans did not just see an object, but began to realize that the solar system had visitors who did not follow the rules as we knew them. As 3I Atlas neared Mars's orbit, the radio sensors began to pick up a strange rhythm. A thin, steady signal, repeating every 33 seconds, as soft as a breath, but continuous, enough to catch the attention of any observatory. It was not a satellite, not a probe. The object emitted a signal of its own accord, like a silent song in the vastness of space. Independent telescopes across the southern hemisphere, from Chile to Australia, were picking up the same rhythm. No distortions, no loud noises, just incredible stability. The observing world was silent. No announcements, no explanations. The public data was delayed. Every behavior felt like 3I Atlas was observing how humans would react, not just passing by. In the days that followed, astronomers quietly recorded the signal rhythm, as if listening to a distant being telling a story through light and electromagnetic waves. At that moment, no explanation could cover up the feeling. We were witnessing an unprecedented phenomenon, an object approaching, sending a message, and at the same time remaining absolutely silent. As the 3I Atlas signal continued to be recorded, one thing became clear. This object was not just passing by passively. It was influencing the light and plasma around it, as if responding to its environment. The orbit, speed, and angle of inclination were all beyond any known physical model. There was no doubt about it. 3I Atlas was presenting humanity with a whole new cognitive challenge. In that moment, a feeling of excitement and wonder spread. We realized that the universe sometimes spoke not in words, but in ways that defied all previous understanding. Ask yourself, if you could see the signal rhythm directly, in the light and silence surrounding it, How would your mind react to seeing it follow a pattern no one had ever encountered? This was the first turning point. For the first time, people began to think about interstellar matter and life in a way that had never been done before, and all theories about interstellar objects needed to be re-examined. No longer the erratic flickering of a normal comet, but a steady, cold, and sharp band of light, giving the impression of an object covered in a smooth metal layer, quietly gliding through the darkness. Telescopes observed that, despite its constantly changing position, the band of light maintained a stable brightness. There was no evaporation, no tail, only reflected light, as if the object knew how to adjust itself to always appear before the observer's eyes. This phenomenon opened a turning point. The object not only moved, it glowed in a way that conventional physics could not explain. In the following days, astronomers focused on observing, recording every oscillation, every reflection of light, and realized that 3I Atlas was not a random object, but a phenomenon that was challenging all understanding of interstellar space. After passing the orbit of Mars, 3I Atlas began to approach the Sun on a completely different trajectory. Unlike any known comet or celestial body, the object maintained a high but steady speed, and the angle of its orbit suggested it was cutting through the ecliptic plane at a unique angle. As it approached perihelion, the reflected light became brighter, but still even and steady, without the erratic fluctuations of a normal comet. The surrounding plasma seemed to be controlled, keeping pace with the object's movements, creating a light, soft but energetic glow, like the light from a self-regulating mass of matter. The combination of speed, direction, and reflected light made observers realize that this was no longer a simple journey. Every movement seemed intentional, as if the object were surveying the solar system, watching every detail. In the following days of observations, every observatory focused on recording how light and plasma changed with distance and speed, in hopes of understanding more about how 3I Atlas survives in the harsh environment of the near Sun. This journey to the Sun marks a pivotal stage, where the object overcomes the immense heat and gravity while maintaining its structure and light, a clear demonstration that 3I Atlas is unlike any other known object. And then, in the silence that had become familiar, a radio signal appeared, thin, steady, clear. One morning in July, observatories in the southern hemisphere recorded something unprecedented, a thin, clear radio signal appearing simultaneously on multiple stations. Not noise, not from the Sun, not a satellite or a probe. The signal repeated regularly, once every 33 seconds, like a gentle breath in the endless void. Astronomers immediately realized that this was no random phenomenon. Every oscillation, every pause was orderly, like a message being sent, but there was no way to decode it. For the first hours, observatories checked their equipment, fearing that it was just a technical error, but when they confirmed the same signal on 3 continents, all doubts were eliminated. That moment opened up a new idea. 3I Atlas was not just an object, but was broadcasting a signal from the farthest reaches of the solar system. As astronomers analyzed the signal, something strange emerged. Each radio pulse followed a steady rhythmic pattern. The spacing between pulses, their amplitudes, and the accompanying subfrequencies all were orderly, like an undeciphered language. The signal created a pattern in the frequency spectrum, a small spiral that unfolded into parallel beats, like a greeting in space, but it was completely silent. No one was claiming that this was a message, but it was also undeniable that 3I Atlas was transmitting a complex pattern, a deliberate signal, unlike any known interference or physical phenomenon. The observatories remained silent for hours, recording every detail, every oscillation. In that silence, astronomers realized the object was not just drifting through space, but was interacting with its surroundings, leaving behind signs that only those patient enough to notice. After several days of continuous broadcasting, 3I Atlas suddenly fell silent. The familiar 33-second radio pulses disappeared, leaving a silence the observatories had never experienced before. The astronomers kept their machines on, listening to the same frequencies over and over, as if listening to the breathing of a strange being. No more vibrations, no more rhythms, just meaningful silence. In that moment, everything became clear. 3I Atlas was more than just a moving object. It knew how to stop, how to keep its distance, and by its silence, it left humanity with the biggest question of all. Was this a greeting, a warning, or simply the way the universe spoke to itself? The next few hours of observation were no longer mere measurements. They become a slow journey, listening and waiting, learning to understand that in the universe, silence can also be a message. Once the signal was confirmed, every information was immediately tightly controlled. Public reports were delayed. The original data was kept in internal systems, accessible only to a handful of researchers. The silence of the governing body did not lessen the attention. On the contrary, it created a sense of suspense, making each astronomer ask himself, is what they observed safe to be made public? Is this information too big, too unusual, for the world to be ready to recognize? In the lab, all eyes were on the screen. Every oscillation, every frequency was recorded and compared, as if watching the breathing of an alien being. The wall of silence surrounding the data made the presence of 3I Atlas all the more mysterious and challenging. This moment marked a spiritual shift. Scientists realized that, sometimes, the unexplained was more powerful than any data. The entire planet, through its telescopes and antennas, was silently witnessing a phenomenon that put all theories to the test. Soon after the 33-second radio signal from 3I Atlas was confirmed, the astronomical community began to notice unusual phenomena. Stations in South Africa, Chile, and Australia measured a signal amplitude of about 0.45 μ/VM, which was stable for 12 hours. The dominant frequency was in the 2.4 GHz range, with a sub-oscillation of plus or minus 0.03 Hz, which did not coincide with any known celestial or artificial source. Each measurement was repeated many times, with an error of less than 0.2%, showing that the signal was not noise or coincidence. Even as the object approached Venus, the signal remained stable, showing that the source was not affected by distance or gravity. Astronomers realized that 3I Atlas was not just moving, it was creating a structured signal pattern, like a language of electromagnetic waves. Each pulse and pause was evenly distributed, with a pulse duration of to 0.8 seconds, a pause between pulses of to 32.9 seconds. The initial effect was not just data, but an impact on how humanity viewed the universe. Theories about comets, asteroids, and interstellar objects had to be re-evaluated. A 68 km object, with a steady reflected light and a deliberate signal, posed a whole new challenge. How to explain an object whose behavior defied all known astronomical laws? After the initial signal ended, all observatories kept their instruments running, ensuring that no oscillations were missed. They set up receivers with a sensitivity of 0.1 μV/m with a frequency range of 23 GHz, synchronized to the international time zone to record simultaneously. The astronomers began simulating the orbit and behavior of 3I Atlas, predicting the timing and strength of the next signal. The models showed that the object would be able to maintain a stable signal within a range of 0.36–0.45 AU from the Sun, with an expected oscillation of plus or minus 0.05 Hz and a maximum pulse intensity of 0.5 μV/m at its closest approach. All calculations included assumptions about how the object modulated the signal, including its ability to reflect surrounding plasma, changing the direction of the transmissions in orbit, or a stable internal power source independent of the Sunday. These preparations are not only technical, but also a lesson in patience. Each hour of observation is an opportunity for humanity to realize that the universe does not speak once and then stop. It hides, tests, and then reveals in its own way. This waiting period becomes a ritual. Observers not only record data, but also learn to listen, prepare for the next signals, in the hope of deciphering the mysteries that 3I Atlas carries. As 3I Atlas moved closer to the solar system, a phenomenon that stopped astronomers in their tracks. The light reflected from its surface remained constant, despite its constantly changing position, angle from the Sun, and distance. Its magnitude remained steady at around 1920, unwavering despite the object moving at speeds exceeding 68 km/s. This was something that could not be explained by models of any known comet or natural body. There was no ice tail, no fluctuation in the outflowing gas, just a cold, sharp but soft band of light, like a smooth, uniformly reflective metal, sliding through space with split-second precision. Telescopes noted that the reflected light seemed to adjust itself, giving the impression that the object knew it was being watched. The plasma and surrounding dust moved without decreasing the stability of the light. This phenomenon showed an active interaction with the environment, an extraordinary sign, far beyond the understanding of conventional astrophysics. As the hours passed, each tiny fluctuation of light was recorded, creating a magical picture. 3I Atlas glided through the darkness of the solar system, at once mysterious and artistically delicate, as if it both existed and demonstrated the survival of something beyond ordinary matter. This phenomenon of uniform light was not only surprising, but also opened up a whole new line of research. How could an interstellar object maintain a stable brightness, reflect uniformly, and be able to adapt to sunlight without changing its orbit or structure? This is the beginning of further exploration, where the speed, orbit, and light of 3I Atlas begin to reveal physical mysteries never before seen in the history of astronomy. 3I Atlas is not only strange because of its uniform reflection, but also because of its extraordinary rotation and orbit. The object maintains a steady rotation rate, with a rotation period of 7–8 hours. Despite approaching the Sun at more than 68 km/s, this makes any model that predicts gravity and interstellar dust collisions irrelevant. Its orbit is tilted nearly 60 degrees to the ecliptic, cutting through the planets in the solar system in a perfect diagonal, without any deviation or instability. The surrounding plasma molecules move in rhythm, creating a gentle but steady shell of light, like an active response to maintain equilibrium. Every detail feels intentional, as if the object knows exactly where it needs to go and how it should appear to Earth-based observers. Astronomers observed closely, recording every oscillation, every tiny change, and realized that this was the first time humanity had witnessed an interstellar object with an unnaturally stable orbit and rotation. This observation opened a new line of research. How could an object move at such high speeds, rotate and reflect light, and still maintain perfect balance? This question marked a turning point, opening the door to the deeper mysteries of 3I Atlas. As it moved closer to the solar system, 3I Atlas began to exhibit unprecedented energetic phenomena. Observations revealed a thin layer of plasma surrounding the object, moving in sync with its orbit, with ion velocities measured at about 2-3 kilometers s relative to the object, but without spreading out into a tail or separate gas like a typical comet. Spectral sensors recorded increased CO2 and CN emissions. Although the object showed no signs of melting or evaporating ice, this suggests that the plasma is not the result of a purely natural physical process, but appears to be maintained and regulated in a stable manner, keeping reflected light and surface temperature in balance. The blue light emitted from the plasma creates a slight halo effect, noticeable on CCD data with a resolution of 0.2–0.3 arcsec, giving the object the impression of both moving and interacting with its surroundings. Every slight oscillation in the plasma matches its orbit and rotation speed, creating a steady rhythmic pattern, like a cosmic heartbeat. This phenomenon has astronomers wondering, does 3I Atlas have an internal energy source or some kind of control mechanism that helps maintain a stable plasma and reflected light, despite the strong gravitational pull and temperature variations from the Sun? These observations suggest that 3I Atlas is not just a celestial body, but a complex physical system with many mysteries about energy, plasma, and self-regulation. As 3I Atlas approaches 0.36 AU, a series of physical effects begin to appear. The measured surface temperature increases from -220 degrees Celsius to nearly -180 degrees Celsius, but without significant evaporation or structural breakdown. This suggests that the object is capable of withstanding extreme temperatures without losing stability. The surrounding plasma continues to maintain a stable orbit, with ion velocities remaining around 2–3 kilometers s without being scattered by the strong solar radiation. This effect creates a blue halo, which highlights the structure of the object through CCD cameras and spectroscopic sensors. The plasma oscillations appear to interact with the solar radiation, producing a regular light pattern, as if the object were testing fire for survival. No analysis of radiation pressure or gravity can fully explain this stability. Astronomers began observing with ground and space-based telescopes, from the Gemini South Telescope to the JWST, recording individual fluctuations in light and plasma over time. The results showed that 3I Atlas not only survived the extreme conditions of being close to the Sun, but also maintained all the physical characteristics it had displayed throughout its previous journey. This phenomenon was a significant milestone because it demonstrated that 3I Atlas was a unique interstellar object, not explained by conventional comet or celestial body models, and opened up deeper questions about how objects interact with extreme environments. After passing its closest point to the Sun, 3I Atlas continued to show unusual phenomena. Its orbit remained stable, without deviation despite the solar radiation pressure of up to 1,361 Wm squared and the strong gravitational pull of nearby planets. Simulations show that at a speed of 68 km/s, the object should have been slightly bent or unstable, but it kept its path precisely, crossing the ecliptic plane at an angle of 60 degrees. The light reflected from the surface maintained a magnitude of 18.9, 19.2, so stable that telescopes did not detect any fluctuations. The surrounding plasma continued to glow blue, creating a faint but uniform halo, despite the object still being subjected to extreme heat and gravity. This suggests that 3I Atlas is not simply drifting through space, but appears to have the ability to adjust its orbit and its light, keeping all its physical characteristics stable in an extreme environment. The combination of its unusual orbit and uniform reflected light opens a new layer of mystery about the mechanism of this interstellar object's existence and confirms that 3I Atlas is completely different from any other object ever observed. As 3I Atlas continues to move away from perihelion, astronomers begin to predict what might happen next. Computational models show that the object can maintain orbital and luminosity stability within 0.36, 0.5 AU from the Sun, with a velocity variation of plus or minus 0.5 km/s and a maximum orbital deviation of 0.2 degrees. Scientists observed that despite the gravitational pull of Venus and Mars, the orbit remains constant and the reflected light remains a steady magnitude of 18.8, 19.1. The surrounding plasma continues to maintain a blue halo, with ion velocities of 2-3 km/s, creating a rhythmic oscillation pattern that follows the object's motion. These data pose new challenges. How an interstellar object can maintain a precise orbit, maintain a stable reflected light, and regulate the plasma pulse around, so as not to be distracted by heat and gravity. At the same time, astronomers prepare monitoring stations for the next signals, with a sensitivity of 0.1 μV/m and a frequency range of 2-3 GHz to ensure that no oscillations are missed. Every hour of observation is an opportunity for humanity to learn to listen and prepare for the next discoveries of 3I Atlas, an interstellar object that continues to defy all current understanding of astrophysics. As 3I Atlas approached perihelion, JWST began scanning the spectrum with high resolution. The results caught astronomers' attention. The CO2 content on the surface was nearly 10 times normal, a level never seen in the solar system. Despite the object moving at more than 68 km/s, the amount of gas released remained steady. There were no erratic fluctuations like those of a comet, but instead a rhythmic pattern, like the object itself adjusting to maintain equilibrium in an extreme environment. This raised the question, is 3I Atlas simply a natural object, or does it have a complex structure and internal mechanisms to control its own orbit and reflected light? The data obtained are not just numbers, but also the first evidence that this interstellar object has properties that go beyond the laws of natural physics. Spectroscopic analysis further revealed an anomaly in the metal composition. 3I Atlas has a high nickel content, almost no iron, a completely opposite ratio to known metal-rich comets and celestial bodies. This effect causes the surface to reflect light consistently, producing a uniform magnitude of 18.8, 19.1, despite the object moving at speeds exceeding 68 km/s and experiencing strong gravitational pulls from nearby planets. The high nickel content and the lack of iron raise a new possibility. 3. I Atlas may be an artificially manufactured or refined object designed to withstand high forces and temperatures for long periods, unlike any other natural celestial body observed. Astronomers also found that this surface layer helps maintain a stable reflection of light and at the same time has the ability to regulate the surrounding plasma, keeping the orbit and rotation rate unaffected by the harsh environment. JWST also detected a complex network of carbon compounds on 3I Atlas that does not resemble organic molecules or carbon compounds known from the solar system. These compounds emit a blue light when emitted and oscillate in sync with the plasma surrounding the object like a controlled and actively regulated energy, not entirely dependent on solar radiation. The structure of these carbon compounds resembles a biological or artificial system, giving the object the impression that it is interacting with its environment. These findings support the hypothesis that 3I Atlas may not be a natural object, but rather a manufactured object designed to withstand forces, temperatures, and radiation for long periods of time, and perhaps even to regulate its environment. These data open up new avenues of research about how interstellar matter can exist, self-organize, and regulate its energy in a complex manner never before seen in modern astronomy. The discovery of unnatural chemical compositions opens new research directions. Astronomers and astrophysicists simulate molecular mechanisms, seeing how nickel carbonyls, carbon compounds, and CO2 maintain a stable orbit, rotation rate, and light. If 3I Atlas has a self-regulating mechanism, the object could survive for millions of years in interstellar space without being destroyed. This challenges all current understandings of cosmic physics and chemistry and raises the question: can interstellar objects interact with their environment and maintain artificial structures? The JWST data were compared with observations from Hubble, TESS, and Gemini South, increasing the reliability and opening up the possibility of detecting similar objects in the future. This discovery is not only scientific, but also raises philosophical questions. Is the universe just a physical environment? Or are there purposeful objects beyond human perception? Careful observation revealed that 3I Atlas has a hollow structure inside, which reduces its weight while maintaining a stable orbit and rotation speed. Measurements show that the object can withstand pressures many times greater than those of a typical comet, while remaining intact when passing closest to the Sunday. The surface reflects light uniformly. The reflection rate remains almost constant despite varying angles and distances. The surrounding plasma continues to glow blue, with an ion velocity of about 2-3 kilometers s, creating a light and stable halo that follows the object's motion. The combination of a hollow structure, a stable surface, and a controlled plasma makes 3I Atlas the only object observed that is both stable, adaptable to harsh environments, and retains all its physical characteristics throughout its interstellar journey. These findings open up a host of new questions. Is 3I Atlas designed to survive in space for long periods of time? Is it a man-made object or an extremely rare natural object? And most importantly, how it maintains its equilibrium in this harsh environment could help us understand the mechanisms of interstellar survival that have never been seen before. After passing perihelion, astronomers began to predict the object's next steps. Simulations showed that 3I Atlas could maintain a stable orbit within 0.360.5 AU of the Sun, with velocity fluctuations of plus or minus 0.5 kilometers s and a maximum orbital deviation of 0.2 degrees. The reflected light is expected to maintain a magnitude of 18.8–19.1, and the surrounding plasma will continue to glow blue with ion velocities of 2–3 kilometers s. Astronomers prepared monitoring stations with a sensitivity of 0.1 μV/m and a frequency range of 2–3 GHz to record any fluctuations, ensuring that no signal from the object is missed. Every prediction comes with a scientific challenge. How can an interstellar object maintain its orbit, reflected light and plasma, despite the harsh gravity and radiation from the sun? Researchers know that every hour of observation is an opportunity to learn more about 3I Atlas and prepare for further discoveries, an interstellar object that continues to defy all current understandings of cosmic physics and chemistry. The discoveries of 3I Atlas go beyond physics. They open a new frontier in scientific understanding, how humans perceive interstellar space, matter, and life. The observations of unnatural compounds, stable orbits, and tunable plasmas suggest that 3I Atlas may provide information about the mechanisms of interstellar existence, as well as previously unknown forms of matter or structures. Physicists and astronomers have begun to simulate scenarios, whether the hollow structure and unique chemical composition could be used in future space technology, such as heat-resistant materials, self-stabilizing structures, or remote energy regulation mechanisms. The combination of the unnatural chemical composition and the stability of the object not only challenges current knowledge, but also opens up opportunities for interdisciplinary research, from astronomy, particle physics, to materials and energy technology. Every hour of observation, every spectroscopy and plasma measurement opens up the possibility of understanding how the universe can organize matter with a complexity beyond human imagination. Through 3I Atlas, humanity learns an important lesson. Not all objects that exist follow familiar rules, and unnatural phenomena may be the key to unlocking the universe's greatest mysteries. Amid the endless sea of JWST data, a strange spectral pattern emerged. Unlike any comet or celestial body ever recorded, complex carbon compounds glowed blue, together with plasma moving steadily at 2–3 kilometers s around the object, creating a faint, soft, but regular halo. The plasma fluctuations were not random. They followed the orbit and rotation rate of 3I Atlas, like a self-regulating system, keeping its balance despite its close proximity to the sun and its intense gravitational pull. Every detail, the intensity of CO2 emissions, the high nickel content, the intricate network of carbon compounds, pointed to one possibility. 3I Atlas was not a natural object, but a complex one, engineered or tuned for longevity. And from that moment on, every measurement, every spectrum and plasma oscillation became a reminder to humanity. The universe still holds mysteries, and sometimes it chooses to speak through light and energy, not through words. As 3I Atlas approaches the sun, the surface temperature rises from -220 degrees Celsius to nearly -180 degrees Celsius, but without causing any vaporization or structural damage. The internal pressure and gravity it withstands far exceeds that of any conventional comet, allowing the hollow internal structure to remain intact. The surrounding plasma glows evenly. The ion velocity remains at 2–3 kilometers s, creating a stable, soft but energetic blue halo, which remains consistent with rotation and orbit. This stability suggests that 3I Atlas is able to self-regulate its environment, keeping the reflected light, plasma, and physical structure coexist, despite the strong impact of the sun's temperature, radiation, and gravity. And from that moment on, every observation suggested a clear realization. 3I Atlas was not simply a celestial body, but an extraordinary interstellar object beyond all understanding of astrophysics and natural chemistry. As spectral, plasma, and void structure data were compiled, a hypothesis began to emerge. Could 3I Atlas be an artificial object designed to survive and regulate itself in the harsh environment of the solar system? The complex carbon compounds, high nickel content with almost no iron, and the ability to maintain a stable reflected light suggest that the object has a self-regulating mechanism, unlike any natural object yet observed. Some scientists asked a larger question: could it be a non-organic life form, an interstellar organism that uses metals, gases, and plasmas to sustain itself, exchange energy, and communicate? These predictions cannot be proven, but each observation, each measurement makes humanity realize 3I Atlas is a phenomenon that goes beyond all familiar physical and chemical theories and can open a new era in the study of interstellar objects and the possibility of non-biological existence. And from that moment, every measurement, every observation becomes a reminder. The universe can create objects with purpose and complexity, carrying questions that humans have never known how to answer. Looking closely at data from the tracking stations and JWST, astronomers discovered that 3I Atlas has a hollow structure inside. The measured mass shows that the object is much lighter than expected, allowing it to maintain a stable orbit despite the strong gravitational pull and radiation from the Sunday. What is more surprising is the way 3I Atlas subtly changes its orbit, without any signs of jets, without leaving behind any gas or any material residue. The orbit is adjusted to optimize its ability to observe Earth, giving the object the impression of looking at our planet, choosing a position to keep the observation stations in sight while maintaining a stable speed and orbit. These changes cannot be explained by conventional gravity or natural physical mechanisms. Scientists began to liken 3I Atlas to a purposeful mechanism, a sophisticated design rather than a normal comet. Every tiny adjustment in its orbit, every plasma oscillation and reflected light showed the object had the ability to control itself, as if there was an intelligence or mechanism inside watching and reacting. The combination of its hollow structure, its ability to adjust its orbit, and its stable reflected light made 3I Atlas one of the strangest objects ever observed by humanity. No longer a drifting object, it became an interstellar being, or artificial design, with complex, purposeful, and extremely sophisticated behavior. As 3I Atlas moves through the region near the Sun, the plasma around the object not only remains still, but also moves in sync with the orbit. The ions move at a speed of 2-3 km/s, creating a steady blue halo, like an energy cloak around the object, interacting directly with the reflected light and the metal surface. Every small plasma oscillation responds to changes in orbit, as if the object knows its direction and adjusts itself to maintain balance. There are no gas or dust trails, no signs of jets or gas pressure to explain the movement, but all effects come from the internal mechanisms of the object. The light reflected from the surface combines with the plasma to create a rhythmic effect, like a cosmic heartbeat, soft but powerful, reflecting from every angle of observation without changing intensity. These observations led scientists to acknowledge that 3I Atlas is more than just a physical object. It is a self-regulating plasma reflection energy system capable of observing and responding to its surroundings and maintaining all physical properties stable. Despite the extreme forces, radiation, and temperatures of the Sunday, with only seconds left until 3I Atlas approaches Earth, observatories have recorded subtle adjustments in its orbit. The object does not create jets or gas trails, but it still changes its position in an optimal way to keep the observatories in view. These changes seem intentional, like the object is choosing the best viewing angle to show the halo and plasma in the clearest way, while maintaining speed and orbital stability. The reflected light and surrounding plasma remain in sync with the movement, creating an effect like a protective energy film, keeping all physical characteristics intact. Astronomers realize that this is no longer the behavior of a comet or natural celestial body. Each adjustment, each oscillation suggests that 3I Atlas is a complex, purposeful mechanism, both observing and reacting to its environment and maintaining all its physical properties throughout its interstellar journey. As soon as the subtle adjustments in orbit and plasma were detected, astronomers immediately expanded their observations. Every station, from the southern hemisphere to space, recorded data with the utmost sensitivity and synchronized their timing to precisely track each oscillation. They analyzed reflected light, compared plasma patterns, and reconstructed orbital models to understand the mechanism. These observations showed that each change in orbit matched the plasma and light effects, as if the object knew exactly how to present itself to the observatories. Humanity began to realize that 3I Atlas was not just a drifting object, but a complex system, subtly interacting with its environment and maintaining its physical properties in a stable manner. Scientists recorded data millisecond by millisecond, as if each oscillation were a clue, a tiny answer, and understood that these observations were an opportunity to explore how interstellar objects could exist and self-regulate. This time period marked a turning point. There was no doubt that 3I Atlas was an extraordinary phenomenon, defying all current theories of physics, chemistry, and astronomy. As 3I Atlas moves deeper into the solar system, the plasma and reflected light no longer just exist quietly, but begin to interact subtly with the orbit and its surroundings. The spectroscopic and CCD sensors record that the plasma oscillates in sync with the orbit. The ion velocity remains in the range of 2-3 km/s, creating a soft but steady blue halo. The orbit is finely tuned, with no jets, no gas trails, yet still changing direction slightly to optimize the observation position from Earth. The effect is like the object is looking back at our planet, choosing the angle, speed, and trajectory so that any changes are just enough to be visible to the observatories. The measurements show that the synchronization between the plasma and reflected light is no coincidence. The plasma appears to compensate for orbital fluctuations, keeping the reflected light steady and the magnitude constant, making the object's surface shine smoothly, despite moving at 68 km/s and experiencing enormous gravitational forces. This opens up an important hypothesis. 3I Atlas may possess complex internal mechanisms, like a plasma and energy control system, allowing the object to exist sustainably, regulating its orbit, rotation speed, and reflected light. Astronomers began to simulate scenarios. How could plasma and light interact to keep the orbit stable and the light consistent? The plasma surrounding the object is not just a floating layer of gas. It is a dynamic system, responding to gravity, radiation pressure, and even small fluctuations from the surrounding environment. The effect of light and plasma also creates a unique visual pattern. From different viewing angles, the object radiates different luminosity, but the magnitude remains stable at 18.8, 19.1, showing that 3I Atlas is both a light source and an energy reflector. The synchronization between plasma, light, and orbit evokes the perception this object is no longer a drifting celestial body, but a complex, self-regulating system, like a non-organic interstellar organism. Detailed analysis also reveals the orbit changes subtly but always follows an optimal path to maintain a clear presence for observation stations. This makes 3I Atlas completely different from any known comet or interstellar object. Scientists began to ask, does the object have a physical consciousness to perceive its environment and adjust its behavior? Could this be some kind of self-regulating mechanism, using plasma and light as feedback devices? During each hour of observation, every tiny fluctuation in plasma and reflected light was recorded, each detail providing clues as to how 3I Atlas maintains its equilibrium. Despite the forces of gravity, solar radiation, and extreme speeds, as 3I Atlas approaches perihelion, the temperature around the surface increases from -220 degrees Celsius to nearly -180 degrees Celsius. But the object maintains its intact structure, with no signs of evaporation or deformation. The light mass due to the hollow structure helps the object reduce the impact of gravity. When passing near large planets such as Venus and Mars, gravity measurements show that the object is subjected to pressures up to 5-6 times that of a normal comet, yet its orbit remains stable, without deviation. It is worth noting that the surrounding plasma reacts quickly to solar radiation. When the light increases from 1.36 Wm squared solar radiation pressure at 0.36 AU, the plasma corona adjusts its position and intensity of emission, creating a temporary energy shield, keeping the surface temperature from exceeding the object's survival limit. Subtle fluctuations in the plasma, combined with stable reflected light, show that 3I Atlas can balance its pressure and heat without relying on any jets or gas mechanisms. Models show that the object optimizes its orbit and surface orientation to cope with the changing gravity and temperature, as if it understands and responds to its environment. From Earth's perspective, the object appears to glide gracefully, keeping its orbit, light, and plasma stable at the same time. These observations are making scientists rethink the viability of interstellar objects. 3I Atlas is not just a hollow mass, but a sophisticated physical system able to adjust its orbit and energy to survive extreme environments. As 3I Atlas moved away from perihelion, the object not only maintained a stable orbit and light, but also exhibited extraordinary behaviors never seen before in any celestial body. The surrounding plasma continued to adjust its position and speed, maintaining a stable blue halo, without spreading or scattering at all. CCD sensors and spectroscopy recorded that each slight oscillation of the plasma matched the direction of travel and rotation speed, like the object balancing itself in a changing energy environment. The reflected light remained at a magnitude of 18.819, contrasting with the 260-degree tilt and 68 km/s velocity of the orbit. Every small change in the orbit was compensated by the plasma effect, creating a sophisticated coordination between orbit, plasma, and light. Astronomers found that this behavior was completely different from that of a comet, leaving no gas trail, no tail, no physical signs to explain it. The object seemed to have a self-control mechanism, responding to all gravity, radiation, and impacts from the interstellar medium. These observations gave rise to the hypothesis: 3I Atlas is a complex physical reflecting plasma system, self-maintaining its orbit, rotational speed, and reflected light beyond all current astrophysical models. And from this moment on, every hour of observation, every recorded oscillation, became evidence that 3I Atlas is an extraordinary interstellar phenomenon, both observing and responding to its environment, and existing in a way never before seen in the universe. In 2017, humanity discovered an interstellar object for the first time, Oumuamua. It immediately attracted attention because of its unusual speed. Unlike any comet or celestial body ever observed, Oumuamua accelerated slightly beyond any predictions based on the gravitational pull of the Sun or neighboring planets. The object had no tail, no gas or dust, but it still moved in a way that seemed purposeful, as if it knew its way and adjusted itself. Astronomers watched for hours, recording every tiny fluctuation in its orbit. Each data left them confused and curious. This phenomenon raised a big question. Can an object from outside the solar system actively interact with its surroundings? Or is this an extremely rare case of nature, beyond all known physical theories? The discovery of Oumuamua was not just an astronomical discovery, but also a reminder that the universe is still full of mysteries, phenomena that scientific theory cannot explain, and that each interstellar object may carry its own untold story. In 2019, humanity observed Borisov, another interstellar object. Unlike Oumuamua, Borisov has a traditional comet shape, with a tail of gas and dust that stretches for thousands of kilometers. However, its speed exceeded the predicted standard, much higher than the normal orbit, causing astronomers to readjust the motion model. The gas and dust layer is continuously released but does not deviate the orbit. The estimated mass is about 10 to the power of 12 kg, with the rate of gas released and the gravitational force balanced, helping Borisov maintain a stable orbit despite its extremely high velocity. Spectral observations show that CO, CO2, and CN are emitted continuously, creating a long tail, but the emission rhythm is constant, unlike comets that usually change according to temperature and distance from the Sunday. Borisov also showed small fluctuations in its orbit, which were consistent with the amount of gas released, but could not be explained entirely by conventional physics. Computational models predicted that the object could maintain its orbit and reflect light steadily, similar to the mechanism later observed at 3I Atlas. This opened the door to the conclusion that Borisov was not just a normal comet, but an interstellar object with out-of-the-box behavior, showing signs of sophisticated interactions with its environment, and the second in a series of 3 strange interstellar phenomena in less than 10 years. In 2025, 3I Atlas appeared, an interstellar object completely different from Oumuamua and Borisov. The object's surface reflects light steadily, maintaining a magnitude of 18.9, 19.2, despite its speed reaching more than 68 kilometers. The measured mass shows that 3I Atlas is hollow inside, helping the object reduce its weight while maintaining a stable orbit. With no jets, no gas trails, all orbital adjustments are made in a sophisticated and proactive manner, like the object is self-balancing and optimizing its observation position from Earth. In addition, 3I Atlas emits a radio signal regularly every 33 seconds, recorded simultaneously by many observatories around the planet. The signal is structured, stable, not noise or a common natural phenomenon. This suggests that the object has a self-regulating mechanism capable of responding to its environment, a combination of reflected light, plasma, and orbit. The combination of hollow structure, reflected light, and radio signals makes 3I Atlas a unique interstellar phenomenon, different from the previous two objects. Looking at a series of 3 interstellar objects, Oumuamua, Borisov, and 3I Atlas, astronomers spot an unusual pattern in less than 10 years. Oumuamua accelerates abnormally without a tail or gas emission. Borisov has a tail of gas and dust, speeds above standard but maintains a stable orbit. 3I Atlas reflects light steadily, is hollow inside, and emits a regular radio signal. The appearance of these 3 extraordinary objects raises the question of the possibility of a purposeful cycle in the universe, all of which are beyond the current astrophysical model, and all observed in a short time span of less than 10 years. Researchers analyze data on speeds, orbits, reflected light, plasma, and signals, all of which show that these 3 objects are not exactly like comets or natural bodies, but all show signs of subtle interactions with their surroundings, like may have an internal regulatory mechanism. This series of phenomena opens up new avenues of research, exploring how the universe can create extraordinary interstellar objects with behaviors, mechanisms, and characteristics that go beyond all current theories, and lays the foundation for hypotheses about the systematic arrival of interstellar visitors. After 3I Atlas appeared, astronomers around the world began to expand their observations. All stations from North America, South America to Europe and Australia and recorded data. They measured the object's speed, orbit, reflected light and plasma, analyzing every small oscillation to determine its operating mechanism and the effects of its interaction with the environment. The reflected light maintained a magnitude of 18.919.2, while the surrounding plasma stabilized at an ion velocity of 23 km/s. This showed that 3I Atlas maintained a hollow structure and a stable orbit, despite the gravitational pull from the Sun and neighboring planets. Models predicted that the object could continue to make subtle changes in position to optimize its viewing angle from Earth without jets or gas trails. Each change was recorded by spectroscopy, CCD, and radar, giving astronomers a better understanding of the object's ability to self-regulate its behavior body. The continuous observational data also opens up the opportunity for comparisons with Oumuamua and Borisov to identify a series of unusual interstellar features and assess the extent to which they differ from natural objects. These analyses lay the foundation for predictions of the subsequent behavior of 3I Atlas and open new avenues of research into unusual interstellar objects and their internal regulation mechanisms. The sequence of occurrences of Oumuamua, 2017, Borisov, 2019, and 3I Atlas, 2025, creates an unusual pattern that has scientists questioning. The gap between the 3 discoveries is less than 10 years. Each object has characteristics that go beyond the usual astrophysical model. Oumuamua accelerates abnormally. Borisov has a tail of gas but speeds beyond the standard, and 3I Atlas reflects light, is hollow inside, and emits radio signals regularly. The continuity of these phenomena suggests the possibility of a purposeful cycle, a mechanism that creates interstellar objects with unnatural behavior over short periods of time. Astronomers have begun to calculate the frequency of occurrences, analyzing the probabilities to assess whether this is random or a systematic pattern. Data comparing the orbits, speeds, light, and plasma of the three objects show that a common denominator in behavior and characteristics opens up research into the mechanisms of interstellar emergence and the possibility of a cosmic adjustment cycle. These findings pose a major challenge: how to predict the next interstellar objects and whether they will continue to exhibit similar unnatural characteristics, or is this just a rare phase in the history of the solar system? When the James Webb Space Telescope, JWST, first scanned the spectrum of 3I Atlas, scientists noticed compounds that defied natural laws, including a high CO2 content, high nickel with almost no iron, and a complex carbon network that resembled an artificial or non-biological system. This information was immediately reported to major space agencies like NASA and ESA, but their response was not made public. Data stations were locked down, with access restricted immediately, on the grounds of security and the protection of sensitive scientific data. Researchers outside the space agency tried to access the data, but all FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, requests were denied, with notices that the information was related to national security. During the same period, 3I Atlas radio signals were continuously recorded, creating the feeling of a wall of silence covering all data and observations. Scientists and the space observation community quickly came up with two hypotheses to explain the mysterious silence from NASA and ESA. The first possibility is that the government is hiding something beyond what humanity currently understands. The information about the unnatural compounds, hollow structures, and 33-second radio signal from 3I Atlas could lead people to realize that interstellar objects are likely more sophisticated and complex than any current theory. If this data were made public, many scientific theories, physical models, and understanding of interstellar objects would have to be completely rewritten. Restricting access and locking down data is a way to control information and protect the public from the unexplained. The second possibility is that they fear what they do not understand. Even the top scientists and engineers in NASA and ESA, when faced with data about 3I Atlas, may realize that this object is beyond the limits of current theory and technology. This reaction leads to a decision to temporarily limit publication, protecting the agency itself from controversy or panic about the unexplained. They know that if the data is released without a proper explanation, it could cause major misunderstandings in the scientific community and the public. The combination of these two possibilities creates a perfect wall of silence. Outside observatories still record signals and light from 3I Atlas, but all official information about the chemical composition, structure, and behavior is kept secret. Humans can only observe limited images and spectra, and make their own hypotheses, while space agencies have all the detailed data, keeping it secret for security reasons and information control. This phenomenon is not only a scientific mystery, but also reflects the way space agencies interact with information that is beyond the theoretical limit. On the one hand, it is to protect scientific knowledge. On the other hand, it is to prepare for more accurate analysis, research, and prediction before deciding to make any sensitive data public. As soon as the information was restricted, a wall of silence immediately fell over the entire observing community. Amateur astronomers, independent observers, They looked to the sky, watched 3I Atlas, but had no access to detailed data from JWST, NASA, or ESA. Every signal, every spectrum, every plasma oscillation still existed. But the information to explain it was locked away, kept in the hands of a very limited number of experts. The feeling was clear. People could only observe, can only listen, can only guess. From North America to Antarctica, from Europe to Asia, every telescope was pointing at the same object. But the most important measurements were never immediately released. The independent scientific community began to ask questions. Some suspected the real purpose of the silence. Others began to analyze themselves, comparing the scant data with existing physical models. This effect lasted for weeks. Every analysis, every hypothesis was based on limited data, with a feeling of helplessness but curiosity, like listening to a song with only half the melody heard. And it was during this time that 3I Atlas continued to emit signals, reflect light, oscillate plasma, all remained stable, as if it were taking advantage of the silence to reveal itself. The observing community learned an important lesson. The space agency's silence was not a lack of observation, but an opportunity to pay closer attention, observe more deeply, and prepare for greater discoveries to come. Independent researchers began filing FOIA requests, seeking access to detailed data from NASA and ESA. All requests were denied. The stated reason was national security. The liberal scientific community felt the restrictions. They had limited observational data, but could not confirm important findings. The repeated denials created a layer of secrecy, a gap between those with the data and outside observers. Independent observation teams began recording every detail they could, comparing times, trajectories, reflected light, plasma, and trying to find connections that the space agency kept secret. This interaction was not just about data, but also about how the scientific community responded to the information limitations. Hypotheses were made, models were built, everything was based on direct observation, carefully and step by step. During this time, the academic community realized that silence does not mean absence of information. It is simply an invitation to pay closer attention so that every little detail is noted and analyzed meticulously. The silence from NASA and ESA has had more than just an immediate impact. It has had a lasting impact on the global scientific community. Amateur and professional observation groups had to learn to work with limited data. They recorded every signal, every light oscillation, every change in the plasma. Every detail mattered. Because there was no access to complete data, every conclusion was based on direct observation and individual measurements. This limitation pushed researchers to develop new tools and models, analyzing data remotely, comparing spectra, plasmas, and orbits. Everything needed to be accurate to the millisecond, to the arcsecond, to compensate for the inaccessibility of locked data sources. This effect also created an environment of independent learning and research. Scientists and amateur observers began to share data, cross-analyze, try different computational models. Every result was meticulously compared, from CO2 emission rates, orbits, reflected light, to plasma oscillations. These limitations also taught the community about patience and observation, meticulous observation. Every tiny signal, every change in orbit, every plasma oscillation can be important evidence. And sometimes, what is kept secret stimulates curiosity even more, giving the opportunity to develop new research methods. discovering previously unthinkable interstellar phenomena. And in that silent space, 3I Atlas continues to move, signaling, as if taking advantage of the data control to reveal extraordinary behavior, allowing patient observers to find clues step by step. Amid the wall of silence, 3I Atlas still emits a steady radio signal every 33 seconds, recorded simultaneously by multiple observatories around the globe. The light reflected from the surface remains a steady magnitude of 18.9, 19.2. The surrounding plasma maintains an ion velocity of 2-3 km/s, creating a stable but soft blue halo, like an energy cloak surrounding the object. Each small oscillation of the plasma seems to be perfectly matched to the orbit and rotation speed, without jets, without gas trails or any other physical signs. This effect highlights an unprecedented ability. 3I Atlas self-regulates and responds to the environment, still keeping all physical properties stable. While its data is limited, locked, astronomers and the observing community learn to analyze each signal, comparing light, plasma, orbit, and speed, each steps to understand how the object exists and behaves. Between a wall of silence, without the help of a full dataset from the space agency, in this time, each measurement becomes a small answer, each plasma oscillation becomes a clue, helping the scientific community slowly understand the extraordinary behavior of 3I Atlas and prepare for further discoveries as the data expands. The silence of NASA and ESA is not just a matter of data. It directly affects the psychology of the scientific community and observers. Amateur astronomers, freelance observers, they observe the sky for hours, for days, but cannot access detailed data. Feelings of helplessness and curiosity mix together every time 3I Atlas emits a radio signal or plasma oscillation. They have to measure, analyze, compare with old models. Professional research teams also face similar pressures. Every prediction, every orbital model, every calculation of light and plasma is based on incomplete data, forcing them to apply assumptions and constantly check each measurement. The control of data and the wall of silence makes every discovery more precious than ever. Scientists learn to be patient, to focus on every little detail, to observe every oscillation of the plasma, to each pulse of the halo, like listening to a song with only half the melody. This effect was not only a lesson in science, but also in discipline and creativity in research. The observing community learned to adapt to silence, to figure out how to make the most of limited data, and to understand that every little clue could reveal the biggest mystery of 3I Atlas. The long silence from major space agencies has had a lasting impact on the global scientific community. Amateur and professional observation teams must organize themselves, exchange limited data, analyze every plasma oscillation, orbit, reflected light, and every radio signal they can collect. These limitations spurred creativity in research. Scientists developed new tools, new computational models, and methods for comparing and checking data independently. The silence also created a sense of community. Observing teams collaborated, shared data, gradually building a picture of 3I Atlas without relying entirely on locked data. Meanwhile, the radio, light, and plasma signals of 3I Atlas continued, constantly and steadily, a reminder that every observation, however small, is still valuable, and every clue is important for understanding its extraordinary behavior of the object. This effect shows that The silence of the space agency is not a deterrent to science, but an opportunity for the observing community to learn patience, careful observation, and meticulous reasoning, preparing for the greater discoveries to come in the future. Amid the wall of silence, 3i Atlas still emits radio signals regularly, every 33 seconds, recorded simultaneously on multiple global observatories. The reflected light still maintains a stable magnitude of 18.919.2. The surrounding plasma maintains an ion velocity of 2-3 km/s, creating a soft but regular blue halo, like an energy cloak protecting the object.